things that I hoped and wanted and that Laurie hoped and wanted to happen didn't happen. I was hoping that the radiation would at least stop the cancer and we'd have a little time. We had such plans. We were going to do so many things. I just retired. And that we'd have some time to do some of that without debilitating chemotherapy and all the things, that maybe the radiation would stop it and then we could do some of the things we wanted to do. We both knew it was a death sentence, that there was no cure, that it was going to take her life, but we were hoping we might have a little bit of time. We didn't get that. She died very quickly. And I once asked the Lord, what do I pray for? I didn't know what to pray for and he said, pray that she can draw all the joy she can out of life and then pass quickly, which is what happened. She passed quickly. The title actually came from an experience that I had when I was in Peru. I was flying to Lima. That morning was a beautiful, beautiful sunrise over Lake Titicaca. I just thought as I watched the sunrise how beautiful beginnings are and mornings, and what a wonderful thing it is to start. And that night, as I was flying over the Pacific, there was a beautiful sunset. I really think it's the most beautiful sunset I ever saw. And it lasted almost an hour. Every color, pinks and corals, and towards the end scarlet, and the clouds, and the blue sky. There was a little sliver of a moon, and Venus was right above it. It was really a very beautiful, beautiful sunset. And as I watched that, the Lord, into my mind came these words: sunsets are beautiful things, endings as well as beginnings. They do not plunge the world into darkness, but remind us of the glories of the day and the promise that the sun will rise again. And so I felt that was the Lord's way of saying, even though this was an ending, a sunset for my wife's life, that I should not be full of grief. I am, but I should remember the glorious and the good and positive things that we had shared, and the promise that the sun will rise again and I'll see her again and be with her again. So that's where the title came from. When we were going through the cancer, I had a little black notebook that I would carry with me, and as thoughts or impressions or experiences would come, I would write them down. Not particularly because I felt this was going to be a learning situation. Eve said, "It is better that we pass through sorrow, that we may know." Those words have become very important to me now. Pass through it's not permanent. We're going to pass through it, but we'll learn a lot, that we may know that we'll learn a great deal as we're passing through the sorrow. So I was writing down the things that I was being taught, that I was learning, the impressions. Not particularly to be published, but I just felt these were sacred things and I needed to have them, and felt as she passed that we're asked to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort, that there would be some things that maybe I could put voice to, I could put words to, that would be things other people had thought and felt that would help them, and that I needed to be very, very open about it. You do go through crisis of faith, you do wonder when all your happiness is hanging on your belief system. You have to hang on tighter. So I was very open, I was very honest in my feelings. A lot of them came from what I wrote in a little black book, a little black notebook. I hope that it will be of value to people in two ways. Those who've lost someone that they love, and if we love, ultimately that's going to be all of us. And two, that the book is about love as much as it's about dying. And I'm hoping that maybe those who are not going through what I'm going through may learn to love better, more deeply, more appreciative. Hopefully it gives permission for people to feel what they feel. I hope it will be a blessing. Part of this last 2 years has been a challenge and a crisis to faith in some ways. I've never been angry at God. I know that people do get angry. I can understand why. I just haven't gone through it. I think my faith has been strengthened in what I call compensatory graces. The Lord's indicated to me as He's been so good to me in what I've been taught and what I've learned. I asked for a dream about her. He sent me a beautiful one. I wanted a letter from her. I just wished I got a letter from her. And I found the 8 letters in the basement. There are just so many little things like that He's been kind, that have been a blessing and a help. Because there's been so many compensatory graces. My faith is held, but I still go through what I call the midnight thoughts, the dark times, the regrets and the fears and the I should-haves and the waiting, the what-ifs. Will she still want me? It's very real for a lot of people who are grieving. Will she still want me? Is she still mine? So I'm still wrestling. I wish I could say I'm not wrestling. I think I will wrestle all my life and try and hold on. But God has been so very good in so many ways. I've said before this happened, and I believe it even more deeply now, that the happiest day of my life, the climax of my life, the pinnacle point, the most important moment of my life was when I knelt at the altar in the Alberta temple and had her sealed. We were sealed together. There's never been a happier day in my life than that. Truly, that was the happiest day. Laurie is my eternal reward. The celestial glory is a person, not a place so much. She's all I want. Everybody else can have a mansion if they want, but I just want Laurie. I love the temple. I truly love the temple. It's been a great strength this last 2 years. I love the story of Jacob and Rachel. Laurie's my Rachel. Jacob labored 7 years for Rachel. And I feel that way now. That story always meant a lot to me. I always called Laurie my Rachel. For years and years and years, she was my Rachel. And so my purpose of life now is, as Laban said to Jacob when he said, I'll serve 7 years for Rachel, and Laban said, it's better that I give her to thee than to another man abide with me. And so I just say, Lord, let me abide with you and labor for you and feed your flocks. And all that I do out of gratitude to thee for what you've given me, and so that I can win Laurie for eternity. I'll put in the rest of my life for. My 7 years, whatever he wants. As long as one day I can say, as Jacob said, give me my wife, my days are fulfilled. Death has taught me that the real you, I always believed that, I believed it for years, the real you is you at your best. So if I take Laurie at her best from every age of her life and put it in together, that's who she is now. And all the negatives, they just don't matter anymore. None of them matter. She's a perfect being in my mind now. How can I help but want her? Try to stay attuned to the Spirit and let God grant you His compensatory graces. I think it's all right to feel the love and to feel it deeply. Maybe I go back to that Eve phrase, it is better for us to pass through sorrow that we may know. And that you will pass through it. It may be the rest of your life. I don't anticipate I'm going to, as people say, get over this. Life has changed. I have a new life. And I'll have to learn to live within the framework of that life. But I'll pass through it. And while I'm passing through, learn. So maybe that would be the best thing I would say. Pass through it and learn. And the way to learn is to stay in tune as much as you can with the Lord. And every time I watch the sunset now, it actually used to be a bit depressing sometimes, because it would remind me that she had set. But the thought came into my mind every time the sun sets. The Lord seemed to say, tell yourself, you're one day closer to Laurie. So now every time the sun sets, I tell myself, I'm one day closer to Laurie.